you're drinking this water day and night for 10 days. And after 10 days, then, okay, we're going to fix that. We're going to fix that. We're going to just close that. There it goes. Takes care of that. After 10 days, you quit taking the colloidal silver water, and then you take acidophilus powder. And many years ago, I found this really high-tech, fantastic acidophilus powder that absolutely worked. Gets rid of candida albicans, yeast infections, and fungus infections, and so forth. And it's wonderful. And so I bought it by the pound so that I could get it out to people inexpensively. You can buy it from the people now at betterhealthherbs.com. You can buy it from them. And you take this acidophilus powder every single day that you're not taking a normal antibiotic. We're talking herbal. Or even if you're taking a poison drug antibiotic, well, after there's no sense in taking acidophilus powder. It will only destroy it too, because it destroys those antibiotics. Start destroying all the bad guys and some of the good guys, which is the acidophilus. So what happens at the end of the period of time of 10 days, you start taking the acidophilus powder, and you always take it every single day. I take acidophilus powder every single morning to ensure that I have this powerful immune system. Okay? Keeps me well, and it works fine. So that's the first thing we do with COPD, asthma, bronchial problems, is take acidophilus for 10 days and destroy all the unfriendly bacteria and a few of the friendly ones as well. And at the end of that time, it was also destroying viruses and funguses, and it's helping to clear things up. Now, let's saw as well as you're taking that, and as soon as you get through taking the colloidal silver water after 10 days, you're taking the acidophilus powder, about a quarter to a half a teaspoon every morning. Then, and while you're doing this cleanse and getting rid of COPD, oh yeah, you said, well, wait a minute, what about the scarring of the lungs? Well, we'll deal with that too. You know how you deal with that? You take a digestive enzyme that's called, what do they call that digestive enzyme? What do they call that digestive enzyme? They call it, they call it VitalZem. That's what they call it, VitalZem. And VitalZem is a digestive enzyme. It's really tiny. You get 180 of them in a little bottle. 180 fit in there. They're pretty tiny. But that digestive enzyme, you take it three times a day. It breaks up the scar tissue anywhere in your body, okay? And it helps to get rid of scar tissue. So that's good, because breaking up all that scar tissue is what needs to happen with COPD, because that's the problem they can't get rid of. That's what the doctors scratching their head with. I don't know how to get rid of it. Well, it's called VitalZem, okay? And I don't make it. I have to bring it in, and it's spendy too. About $150 for that little bottle, and I had to take that myself in order to get rid of any scar tissue in my body. At 75, you built up a lot of scar tissue, especially what I've been through. Anyway, so that's one of the things that we're doing, and it's not listed in the report. I'll have to add that one as well. That's 3 things I got to add to that report. And you're drinking cat's claw tea. You're drinking about a cup of number 4130 cat's claw spice tea, raspberry, cinnamon, orange, ginger. Tastes pretty good. And we had to make it taste good because it had no flavor. It was, who wanted to drink that tea? Nobody. It was the same thing with pau de yucca bark. When I brought that in, it was about 30, 40 years ago. Nobody wanted to drink it. Great, but nobody wanted to drink it. Uh, anyway, 1 cup of cat's claw tea, 2 hours before breakfast and 2 hours after lunch, and a couple of hours after dinner, you have some cat's claw tea. That is wonderful. And as you do the research, you'll find that that is a wonderful respiratory disorder, as well as it fights off cancers and tumors too. That's the research tells me. And then you're taking some number 1078 CAC liquid. 1078. And you're taking enough of that to keep the bowel movements soft. Because that's what we need to do, is keep the bowel movements soft. We're going to drain all of this out of the body. And there's a formula called number 1051, asthma formula. Number 1051. Now that's an herbal tincture extract. And you're going to have in your cat's claw tea about 24 drops of number 1051 asthma formula right into the tea. And about 24 drops of number 1111 congestion formula if you need it. Okay? These are the respiratory herbs. The asthma formula, number 1051, the congestion formula, number 1111, and if there's hay fever, a hay fever formula, number 1231. And if you need more support, there is a respiratory formula, number 1378. These formulations, maybe you only need one. Maybe you need just the asthma formula. Maybe just the congestion formula. Maybe just the hay fever formula, or maybe just the number 1378 respiratory formula. Or the 1231 hay fever formula. Maybe that's all you need. So what's in the 1111 congestion formula and why it works? It helps to loosen the mucus in the chest and elicits a more productive cough. That's what that does. And the herbs in there are garlic, bayberry bark, mullein and bloodroot, and cayenne and lobelia. That is a congestion herbal formula. And the respiratory herbal formula, that one has, well, what it's doing, it acts as an expectorant to help release the mucus and congestion and get it out. And it's clearing to the respiratory system. And 6 drops, 12 drops, 24 drops. You see, we always start with a small amount of anything and increase it slowly to make sure it agrees with you. You know, we have to be prudent. When you're using herbs, prudence and thanksgiving to the Most High, that works wonderful. So, and that number 1378, just clearing the respiratory system, you know, it contains wild cherry bark, mullein, golden seal root, slippery elm bark, colt's foot, and comfrey leaf. You don't want the root because the root's got too much pyrrolizidine alkaloids in it. So you have to see, that's the thing, you got to know about these herbs. Which one to use, whether you use the leaf or the root or both, you know. And in the case of comfrey, you use the leaf only. And marshmallow root and lobelia and cayenne, that's a respiratory formula. What's in that asthma formula? Well, that, you know, how it's working. It's the asthma formula is attacking the bronchitis and croup and emphysema, and it helps relieve sinus and lung congestion. And it soothes inflamed tissues and allows for breathing and loosens coughs and sinuses. And that 1390, well, it's helping to clear the lungs and sinuses and of congested matter. And it's used for allergies and bronchitis and congestion and lung problems and pleurisy and pneumonia and quinsy and respiratory problems and sinusitis and hoarseness. And by the way, with pneumonia, well, you can say goodbye to that within 3 days. Within 3 days of using colloidal silver water day and night, say goodbye to pneumonia. And other suggestions to help build respiratory system, including taking number 4815 MSM powder, and the therapeutic dose is 1 level tablespoon 3 times a day. Not all at once, but 3 times a day. You can start with 1/4 of a teaspoon and move it up to 1 teaspoon, and then 4 to 6 times a day. And eventually, if you could get a tablespoon 3 times a day, you'll see hair, fingernails, skin, inflammation, all of those things are improved with MSM powder. And of course, that number 4675 acidophilus, well, that's what you do to keep a normal, healthy colon, because it contains the friendly bacteria. It's 85% lactobacillus and 15% coliform friendly bacteria that is necessary for your immune system and a healthy colon. So that's why I use it every day. And it's the friendly bacteria flora found in yogurt. That's what it is. But we don't want the yogurt because the dairy clogs up the entire body. It's hard to digest, and it's not a good thing. I know they say it's a good thing, but it's not. And people just swear by it, and they love yogurt and dairy products. I don't. It's one of the things that have improved my immune system and kept me strong is when I stopped taking dairy, except for a little cream in my coffee. That's about it. Maybe a little butter. I had some butter on my potato yesterday. And here's another thing. Acidophilus is a dietary supplement that maybe it helps detoxify and rebuild and balance the intestinal flora. And it's used to defend against candida. And acidophilus, that's why I take it every morning, half a teaspoon, 1/4 to half a teaspoon every morning. It aids in the digestion, and it helps to replace the friendly intestinal flora in your stomach. So be sure and take acidophilus. And the other thing is colostrum, number 2158 colostrum, 2 to 4 capsules, or that'd be about 1,000 milligrams to 2,000 milligrams of colostrum. It's very concentrated. It's an immune system builder. It's a mammary secretions produced prior to birth, just before mother's milk comes into the breast. The colostrum comes in and gives you all the immune factors from mom. So necessary to the baby, as well as breastfeeding, which gives the baby the love and the comfort that is so necessary to a baby. So just giving a baby a bottle right away is very sad, because they get no love, none of that closeness that a baby needs, and none of that. And the colostrum is the first thing that comes into mother's breast before the breast milk. It's a mammary secretion that's produced just prior to birth. It's released into the mother's milk right after birth. It contains the protective antibodies and many nutrients for the newborn babies. Colostrum helps to protect from infection, for digestive system, for the stomach to mature. It signals the brain centers that function with digestion. So that's how important it is. And you can take this again to increase your immune system. As an adult, you can take the 2 to 4 capsules, or about 2 to 4,000 milligrams of colostrum every day to have a powerful immune system. Another thing is taking that number 4845, a super veggie powder, at least a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon or more every day. Take a half a teaspoon in the morning, a half a teaspoon in the evening. It can be added to beverages or foods, or you can take capsules, and it's available in a liquid. So it's available. That's super green foods. Man, that will give you energy like you can't believe how much energy that will give you. That would be the one thing. If I couldn't get my super veggie powder number 4845, I lose a lot of energy. I'm about 50% of what my energy level is comes from super veggie powder number 4845. And now you're what we're doing here is we're doing a cleansing and a detoxification, and we're draining all this out when there's COPD and there's lung disorders, and we're doing it with that number 1078. But you know what I find very often when there's COPD and lung disorders is people are having problems with bowel movements. Usually there's a lot of constipation going on. And then you would need, instead of the 1078 liquid that cleans out the digestive tract, you would want the herbal tea called CAC tea. That tea will get rid of constipation, is not habit forming, will rejuvenate the bowel and the liver to go back to work again. So that's what will happen if you have constipation. And people say, oh, I've learned to live with it. I only have a bowel movement every 2 or 3 days or once a week. Can you imagine all that poison building up and the toxins trying to get out and they can't? So you reabsorb it and they feel horrible and they have skin disorders and they have COPD and they can't figure out why. Get some of that CACT and say goodbye to constipation. It will train the bowel to go back to work. Over a period of time, you might start with 1, 2, 3 cups a day. And then pretty soon you're down to 2 cups. Then you're down to 1 cup. Then you're down to half a cup, a quarter of a cup. Then you don't need it anymore. Man, it works. And once you're cleaning out, you want to use a broom to sweep it all out, and that's called Truman's Special Fiber with bentonite clay, number 4837. This number 4837 fiber with bentonite clay, you're taking a teaspoon to 2 tablespoons, whatever it takes to give you some bulk, to act like a broom, to absorb all kinds of toxins and poisons, and it absorbs it, takes it out of the body, and it has some of that green foods in it, and the bentonite clay in it acts like a magnet, and it absorbs the toxins, holds it to it, imparts and gives you a whole bunch of minerals from the bentonite clay, takes the toxins and takes it out the bowel, because you're using the number 1078 colon and liver cleanser, liquid cleanser, or you're using the CAC tea, and you're cleaning out, and then you're using the bentonite clay, or the fiber with bentonite clay, to bulk up and absorb everything so that you don't have a headache. No cleansing crisis. Okay? That's how it's done. Now, you're using the or if you want some extra clay, then you use the number 4685. There's my great granddaughter. You want to say hello?
Hi.
Hi, honey. How you doing?
Good.
Okay. Well, I love you.
Love you too, Grandpa.
Okay. Yeah, she's come to visit me after school. And let's see. Well, she's not going to school yet, but she's with the other kids that came. She's 4. She's 4. And she is very big and beautiful. And I love her. Is that your baby? Come on over here and say hello. Okay. This is Exandria. Hi, Exandria. This is my granddaughter. I love you. Okay.
Where's the camera?
The camera, it's right there. Okay. We'll put it over here a little more. Okay. There. Now they can see you and your baby. Okay. Great. All right. This is my great granddaughter, Sandria. Okay. I got to go to work now. Go back and play. All right. Okay. Okay. Bye bye, honey.
Bye.
Bye.
Can I say hi to the camera, Grandpa?
The baby's saying hi to the camera.
Hi.
Okay. All right, honey. I love you. Bye. Okay. That's my great granddaughter. One of my great grandchildren. I got 12 of them. Let's see now. Number 4837. So we talked about number 4837, special fiber with bentonite clay. And then we've got vitamins and minerals that are really important when we're getting rid of COPD and respiratory disorders. And one of the keys is lots of extra B complex. Okay, and I think we should add another one. Got 4 things I want to add to the. I want to add I want to say vitamin D. I want to also add Intramax because that's going to give us a lot of nutrition. But what we're talking about here is how important B complex is. It's going to really help the nervous system. It's going to feed you because you're under stress when you have COPD. I mean, that's stressful. Respiratory disorders are stressful. So, what's the stress vitamin? B complex. Make sure you're taking 1 3 times a day. One of those could be Intramax, the greatest multiple vitamin on the planet. 415 ingredients in it, all organic. That's right. There's nothing else like it. That's what I take. It's called Intramax. So that's multiple vitamin. You take a half a capful in the morning, half a capful in the evening, and a B complex capsule in the afternoon. Now you're loaded with B complex. That's going to fight off any kind of a respiratory disorder and boost up the immune system. Now let's take 25,000 USP units of vitamin A 2 times a day for 1 month. Then one time daily. That's going to increase the immune system and fight off respiratory disorders. Oh, that's number 28, number 2626. That's the vitamin A. The vitamin B complex is number 2080, and the Intramax is number 2302 that I'm going to add to this report. I got all these things to add. See, that's the thing. You continually doing research, continually adding, changing, and refining toward these reports, then work. They help people because that's the key. It's not just one magic herbal thing that's going to take away your problems or your COPD. No, it's knowing it's all of these different things that you can do and started applying pressure on the problem till the problem goes away. And that's why I've had so much success with doing this, is because I don't just say, here's one herb, that's all you have to do. That's baloney. Sometimes that might work for somebody, but I find that you need to know how to get rid of something, and you need enough ammunition to do it for the most difficult situations. And so this is, we're talking about worst case scenario COPD, worst case scenario respiratory diseases. Here's how to work against those problems. Now We just talked about 2626 vitamin A 2 times a day for a month, then once daily. The next thing is number 2283, grapeseed extract, 100 milligrams, two times a day. That's for strength of tissue. That grapeseed extract will strengthen the tissues in the body and and you're going to wind up instead of being weak, you're going to wind up being strong. And garlic. Oh, COPD does not like garlic. Number 2261 is garlic. Number 2283 is a grapeseed extract. But the garlic, 2 capsules 3 times a day, or lots of fresh garlic, but mince it up. Do not eat chunks of garlic. Okay, they don't digest well. They will burn the stomach. So big chunks, you have to mince it, or take garlic capsules. They even have odorless garlic capsules if you don't want to smell like, if you don't want to smell like a garlic. You know that there's a shark cartilage they found also helps with respiratory diseases. That's number 2571, shark cartilage capsules, about 750 milligrams, AM and PM. That's twice a day. Digestive enzymes, we talked about them. Yeah, they're going to be helpful. After you've gone through a couple of bottles of the Vitalzim and got rid of the scar tissue where you can really breathe and so forth, you can then switch over to number 2589, digestive enzymes, or other good digestive enzymes that are available from the folks at betterhealthherbs.com. 541-791-8400 is their phone number. And I don't get anything from the sale of any of these products. Not allowed in America. Anyway, number 2241, flaxseed oil capsules is going to be, that's going to give you support with lung disorders. Flaxseed oil capsules. Number 22, or you can buy the liquid. They got it by the quart. They got it by the capsules. A lot of these products, if you don't want it in a capsule or if you don't want it in a liquid, let them know, because they've got it in various other forms. Number 2241, flaxseed oil capsules. You want at least 1 or 2 morning and night. That's going to be a lot of lung support. And we're coming down here. Bee pollen is going to give you power and stamina and energy. So, and if you've never used bee pollen capsules or tincture, take bee pollen liquid, number 3071. It's all broken down and it'll go to work quick, right underneath your tongue. Any liquid you put under your tongue, 300% more absorption. Anyway, bee pollen, you're going to start with just a drop. And make sure under your tongue to make sure if you have allergies and you're worried about it, put 1 drop in a glass of water and take a sip. Inoculate yourself against the allergies. That will do it homeopathically. So, and you'll get to where you can drink the whole glass of water, and then you'll be able to take 1 drop of bee pollen all by itself. Then you'll be able to increase it up to 60 drops 2 or 3 times a day. And using plenty of cayenne and garlic and alfalfa and kelp in your diet. All of those are going to be powerful. And why are we using bloodroot in some of those herbal formulas? Because it's used in very small doses, mostly as an expectorant. Larger doses can be a sedative. And if you're just going to drink bloodroot, it could kill you. But we're not drinking bloodroot. We're taking it by the drop in very small doses. And in that way, it's an expectorant. Cancers don't like bloodroot. And it's a sedative. And so in very small doses. And bloodroot also is used against eczema, sores, and other disorders of the skin. And the other indications of what bloodroot is used for, it's used against syphilis, hemorrhoids, tumors, and cancers. Bloodroot in very small doses. Okay? Now, St. John's wort, why are we using that in some of these formulas that we just mentioned? Because St. John's wort is a specific for the nervous system. It benefits neuralgia and coccygeal pains and nerve injuries, and it calms the nervous system. And well, how did that come out? Don't know how that got there. Okay. Anyway, are you going to do that? I'm going to do this. It should not be doing that. Wow. Okay. It looks like it's going to do that anyway. All right. Anyway, my computer has a mind of its own. I'm sure. Yeah. Anyway, St. John's wort. Why are we using that? Number 38. And if bloodroot by itself is number 3110. Bee pollen by itself is number 3071. St. John's wort is number 3845. Why do I give you all these numbers? Because if you went over to betterhealthherbs.com and you said, how do I find this thing? Just type the number into the search engine where it says search. Just put the number in. It'll go find it for you. 3845 is St. John's wort. It's specific for the nervous system. It benefits neuralgia, coccygeal pains, nerve injuries, and it calms the nervous system to treat insomnia and bedwetting. Yeah, St. John's wort. It's the hypericins that help to alleviate anxiety and depression, including menopausal depression. St. John's wort is healing for stomach disorders and gastritis. It's an expectorant for bronchitis and a diuretic for gout and arthritis. And St. John's wort lessens menstrual cramps. And St. John's wort, it's used for as an overall tonic for chronic uterine problems and for afterbirth pains of childbirth and for jaundice, diarrhea, and catarrh and colic. And the oil of St. John's wort is healing for burns and wounds and sores and bruises and skin problems and neuralgia and sciatica. And there's a caution with number 3845 St. John's wort. You want to be cautious with it. You want to use the herb because it can cause photosensitivity in some individuals. If you find that it makes you photosensitive, don't use it or use less of it. Now, number 3618, mullein. Why do we use mullein in some of these formulas? It is a valuable herb for the respiratory disorders, including coughs and hoarseness and bronchitis, catarrh, hay fever, and whooping cough. Mullein, number 3618, is an herb that is a sedative. Yeah, it's a sedative, but it may also be used. I mentioned catarrh and gastrointestinal tract, and for digestive system and digestive cramps. Mullein is a healing poultice. You can put it on as a powder and wet it down and put it on wounds and inflamed conditions and for painful skin areas. And other uses are for hemorrhage of the bowels, toothaches, for glands, and is used as a fomentation and for washing open sores. Mullein, that's one of some of the uses of it. And saw palmetto berries. Why are we using that in these formulas? It's a tissue builder, and it stimulates the appetite. And saw palmetto, it increases assimilation of nutrients. It is useful for wasteful conditions. And saw palmetto is also used for underweight problems. Saw palmetto berries are used as it helps to build strength during periods of convalescence. Saw palmetto berries is a nutritive for sexual organs and is used for the treatment of the following conditions: an inflamed and enlarged prostate. And saw palmetto berries is used for impotence and atrophy of the testes, and low libido, and female functional infertility. And saw palmetto berries is used for low milk production and dysmenorrhea associated with lack of tone in the reproductive organs. Saw palmetto berries is also used because it has an affinity for the sexual organs, and it may also function as an aphrodisiac, and it has soothing and expectorant action on the mucous membranes, and it is useful for colds. Saw palmetto berries is used against catarrh, bronchitis, and asthma. And the other uses of saw palmetto berries is it helps balance the urinary tract, enuresis, and as a sedative to the nervous system. And the Native Americans used the crushed root of saw palmetto berries for sore breasts. That's number 3794, and that's why we're using saw palmetto berries. And not to mention the fact that saw palmetto berries are useful in blocking DHT, dihydrotestosterone, that is causing alopecia and baldness. It blocks that DHT. So does nettles. But that's another story. Why are we using wild cherry bark? Because it's best to use the bark that has been collected in the fall when the prussic acid content is highest in wild cherry. And some herbalists allow the bark to age, and we do, before using. Its main uses is as a sedative action on the respiratory nerves. So if there are just lots of spasms and coughing going on, wild cherry bark is a sedative for the respiratory nerves. And wild cherry bark works via the prussic acid, which first increases the respiration, then sedates the sensory nerves, which provokes the cough reflex. It is used for coughs, asthma, and other chest diseases. Wild cherry bark. The other system this herb works on with it is the digestive system. Wild cherry bark works on the digestive system, and it works to aid digestion. And it is useful for the digestive weakness, including ulcers and gastritis, colitis, diarrhea, dysentery, dyspepsia. The American Indians had numerous uses for wild cherry bark: to ease the pain of labor, diarrhea, lung problems, as an enema for hemorrhoids, for dysentery, using the juice of the ripe wild cherries, and then fermented. They fermented them for 1 year. And you don't use the leaves of the wild cherry bark. The leaves of the wild cherry bark are considered poisonous. See, these are all the things you need to know when you're working with herbs. And that's why I love working with herbs, is finding out exactly how to use each one. Now, golden seal, golden seal, that is... and now, number 3424, golden seal, the golden yellow root of this plant gives it its name. It has antibiotic properties, stronger than many prescription medicines, and is able to target unwanted bacteria as well as protozoa and yeasts. And golden seal has the unique ability to not harm the beneficial bacteria that are necessary in the digestive tract. Golden seal. The alkaloid berberine has the added benefit of increasing blood flow through the spleen, where it also increases the immune building activity of the large supply of white blood cells. That's right. So it increases the white blood cells. And by many herbalists, golden seal root is considered one of the most powerful herbs. It is a substitute for quinine. Golden seal is one of the most effective remedies for inflamed and catarrhal conditions of the mucous membranes. It has the ability to heal mucous membranes anywhere in the body. Bronchial tubes, throat, intestines, stomach, etc. Golden seal root indications include its use for open sores, eczema, ringworm, and skin diseases, diphtheria, tonsillitis, and severe throat problems, sluggish digestion, used with skullcap and hops for spinal nerves. Golden seal works also with spinal meningitis, pyorrhea, and sore gums, sinus difficulties. Matter of fact, there's a sinus antiseptic wash that will get rid of sinus disorders. And we're talking about golden seal for bladder disorders and lower bowel problems. You can even use it as an enema. Golden seal is used against infection, flu, diabetes, constipation, colds, cankers, psoriasis, heart disorders, and bladder and spleen and pancreas disorders. And a caution, if a person has high blood pressure, watch for the highs and the lows as they, and if they occur, then substitute golden seal with myrrh gum instead. And golden seal, the berberine in golden seal stimulates the uterus. Do not use during pregnancy, except under the supervision of a healthcare provider. And that's number 3424. And number 3205 is cayenne, considered by many to be the strongest stimulant known. That's right, cayenne is considered to be the strongest stimulant known. Internally, you use it as a relaxant to the stomach and the colon, and it's a healer. Cayenne is a healer. Number 3205 is a healer for ulcers,